Hello humans, I am Mulbre the Cryptid Slime, and welcome to another update video for my Wolvden account. I've been loving doing these, honestly. I've been having so much fun. However, this is also going to be a bit of a two-part video. So the first part is going to be an update, going to show off some of my wolves, see how they're growing up, see what changes have happened. But then the second part, I do want to talk a little bit about the Wolvden market, because it is something that I see constantly coming up. So I would kind of like to be able to use this video as a supplementary to my pricing guide that I've already posted on site. So we are going to talk just a little bit about the Wolvden market for anybody who's either returning to the game or maybe new to the game and might be struggling with the system. But first, update time. So here we're looking at my herbalist. He gets to have the front and center title screen this time. His name is Gaze, and he's one of my first wolves. He's one of my very first ones, and I absolutely fell in love with him when I got him. And part of why I fell in love was his conceited attitude. I thought that was just his little flavor texts that pop up are like some of the greatest things I've ever seen. But he does have a new cloak, which I'm excited to show off this cloak. I spent money on this. I spent good money on this. I'm excited for it. It was made by a fellow user and a friend of mine, Ashlyn. And I think it was a collaboration between her and one of her friends. I am so sorry. I am terrible with names. If you are the friend who helped collaborate on this, please feel free to say so down below and I'll pin your comment. But I'm just terrible with names. It was a collaboration between Ashlyn and her friend, and I think it came out really well. I think it's very beautiful. And to me, it looked like perfect herbalist attire. So I'm actually going to pass the attire on through the generations. So when he passes on, which will be within a couple weeks, my next herbalist will inherit the cloak. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Who's next for the pup parade? We have Garlic. So Garlic got their aging crystal today. So they aged up to an adolescent today. So they got their aging crystal. So tomorrow they will be sent off into the wide, wide world to find a new home. Sorry, I looked over at my OBS and had a slight panic attack and was like, oh my gosh, where's the audio? But no, it was the maple leaves. It's like my little decorations that I put up for autumn. They have their own sound bar, but they don't actually make any sound, so I was like panicking. But I will show you guys all of the new puppies that were born, as well as a puppy that I purchased. So there's this one. It is Snow Base, which is yay. I love it whenever I have a Snow Base puppy born, because then that's another one for my Raise and Chase project, which Raise and Chase means raising them up to level 1, not level 1, year 1. So they're a year old, and then after a year old, you chase them, because then they have a chance to appear in the chased pool. We have another Torn, another mutation. So I do have quite a few of these. I do need to get rid of some of them. I need to sell some. I love them. I do. They always come up with the wrong color. I have yet to get a single mutie that's Snow Base. I get everything but the snow. But I do think it's beautiful. And we got this one. This one I think came out very pretty. I think this one is very beautiful. It does have some nice, it's got the black cougar and black splotches, which I think are what's giving it some of what I like about it. Because it's got like this underlying silver and gray with just this darker stuff on top. I think it came out really pretty. And we have another Snow Base. Another for the Raise and Chase. This one came out nice. It's got a nice saturated Hadal marking, but it's white. It's white base. And I was like, no. Why couldn't you be Snow Base? And this one's really cute too. So you guys may have noticed throughout these updates that there is a huge variation in some of my puppies, but they're all from the same stud. They're all from my boy, but there's huge variations between them. And that was intentional. Because if we look at my stud here, we go to winter, this is my boy, And he's called Winter Roses because when I actually bought him, I didn't breed him, I bought him. He was pink when I bought him. He's not quite pink anymore. But that's why he's Winter Roses. It's because he was pink. But if we go to the wardrobe here and we look at what I've done with him, I intended for him to basically be 3 wolves in one. So that way, no matter what markings you get, not only do you get a nice variety of those markings, but you're not always going to get the exact same pup over and over and over. So what I mean is, if we look here, he's got this very nice saturated, very deep purple all on his face and throughout his body. He's got some nice striping happening, but you know, it's very upfront what it is you're going to get from him. So if we remove his mutation, and that purple really starts to come through even more. But if we hide the Hadal Nautilus, okay, stripes are now gone, and then we hide the Arapawa coat, so those really rich purples are now gone. So now you've got more of this silver shining through, you've got more of the green stripes showing, he's got green pointed ears, more of those stripings are coming through. I'll make him stand up. That way we can see just a little bit better what's going on with him. But it's like a completely different wolf now. And that is because the occult is on top, as well as the Achilles ornate waves. So if we were to hide the occult and the ornate waves, so get rid of both of the occult, he's changed again. So now he's gone from being Hadal to occult to now Windstorm. So the Windstorm is giving him these nice browns. He's got this little bit of a reddish fringe. But now you can see purple again. Purple started peeking back through. And that is coming from the Hadal Lupos. So now he's changed, right? He's a completely different wolf. So now if you get puppies and he has the Windstorm showing through, this is what they're going to kind of look like. So if we hide the Hadal, this is what you'll get. So now if we show just the monster and we hide the Windstorm, he's changed again. He's got a little purple, a little bit red. If we hide the Hadal, this is what he'll look like. And all of these colors are super saturated. So any puppy you're going to get from him is going to have about 50% minimum saturation. So you're going to get some good colors. And if we get rid of the wild stripes, you guys can see what the Lupos looks like. A little bit dark purple spotches. And then if we get just all of the Hadal showing, so if you get all 3 Hadal marks, this is what he'll look like. And then here's no marks. But I did that on purpose, so that way it would be like getting 3 different wolves in one. And it kind of made for more opportunities to get varying colors, so that way you're not getting the same puppy every single time. So that's why this puppy looks the way it does, even though it is identical sibling to this, or not identical, but it is genetic sibling to this one. Now this one, when I first saw this one, I was like, whoa, shocker. It came from the mother. The blue came from the mom. Look at her, isn't she pretty? And then I was like, oh, that's right. She's got the Luna inverted cross. That's where that blue is coming from. And so when this puppy came out and it had the Luna inverted cross and the Luna Lupos, I was like, oh, that's where that's because the mother, what she has is umbra cracks. And that's what this kind of really, really dark, because the umbra is purple. So that's what this really dark purpley black is. And it kind of breaks up those colors to make it look a little different. So it was like, oh, that's where it came from. Because I was like, what happened? Also, I bred that one to a different stud, so they have a different father. And then this one, I thought this one was cute with its little spots. It's Fenestra Cat Shark is what we're seeing. Fenestra Cat Shark. And now we have some more winter babies. This one got some good saturations. But it is dust, unfortunately. This one's quartz. I thought this one was cute. It is mineral, unfortunately, but it got white wraith, which is what's helping give it like this white, almost glow to it, is that white wraith peeking through. And another one of Winter's babies, where they got the wild stripes, a cool lupos, and black crawl from their mother. I just like the way black crawl looks, you know? I think the crawl that's the stripes, by the way, is the crawl. And so those were all of my babies. This is one I purchased. Split Storm. Which I think I saw them and I was like, oh my gosh, I need it. I want it. I got it. It cost me 5 gold to buy this one, which I think was a good price. Its generation is, it's 4th gen. So it'll give me 5th gen babies. But it was snow bays. And you guys know me, I gotta have my snow wolves. So it was like snow bays, so I don't have to change the bays. It's got these very beautiful bright pink eyes. And it's got some nice markings. The wild stripes, the ornate splotches, the Luna dilution, and a white undercoat. Now the big thing with this, what really sold the sale to me, was the Luna dilution and the Celine ornate blotches. Because if we go to my hoard applicators, I bought those applicators from the store because we just had the big lunar event, and I got Luna marking applicators and Selene applicators, and it was like, oh my gosh, this wolf has the markings that I just bought applicators for, so when I am ready to breed them, I can try for combo markings. Hopefully. Potentially. Inverted cross, ornate blotches, points, and smudge heavy. Ornate. Was that the Selene? Oh yeah. So I could try for ornate blotches. Yeah. I can try for the combo ornate blotches. I'm so happy that they've added in the more detail with these, because now they tell you what markings you can get from the applicator, because that was a huge struggle. Like that involved like a lot of researching and page flipping, because they have unfolded marking applicators which have more marking options available. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So that was really nice when they added that. I will show you guys what this one looks like at 100% opacities, because I am planning on upping the opacities. So this is what they'll look like once I up all of their opacities. So there's them standing. And there's them laying down. So I think they'll have some really nice color once I up the opacities. I think they're just beautiful. I want to gender change them to female so I could breed them with my stud. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I might pair them up with one of my other muties, because I do have a melanism carrier. So if I pair them with my melanism carrier, and I give my melanism carrier markings to get combo mark. Okay, that's a future problem. that's one for when I've made decisions. But some of my traveling pup sitters have gone to new dens. They're out there working hard, taking care of puppies, which that was always exciting. I did secure some more of my wolves. It's very important to secure your wolves. Very, very important. Get this one secured. Who else has changed? Oh, you guys might remember this one. Little Felicity. Look who's back. Look who's made it back. Felicity. So, since the last video, Felicity did grow up, and they were chased, and they were found. And the person who found them put them on the market for 10 silver. And so I was like, yeah, of course I'll take that back for 10 silver. So I bought them. I guess they didn't want to keep it, which is totally valid. It's totally valid. So now they're back with us. That's so exciting that not only they were found, but then we brought them back. If somebody else had wanted him, that would have been absolutely grand too. It's just as long as it doesn't end up in the void, you know. That's always the nice feeling when they don't end up in the void. So I was excited that they've made it back. But I'm certain I haven't shown you guys this project yet. So I got an impulse and I decided to start a leopard shark marking project. So I'm going to try and get leopard shark in markings 2 through 10, because as far as I can tell, leopard shark does not yet exist in slot 1. I could not find any slot 1 leopard shark wolves. And I'm not talking just for sale, I mean in the entire game. I used the search function for the entire game, and I couldn't find any slot 1 leopard shark. So we're just going to do slots 2 through 10. And between all of these wolves here, I have 2 through 10 covered. So like Novak is in slot 2 and Nova is slot 7. So all of these wolves, as they grow up, I'm going to pair bond them and then breed them. And then as soon as I get a puppy that has the marking in both parent slots, so like Nova has it in slot 7, Novak has it in slot 2. So as soon as they give me a puppy that has leopard shark in slot 7 and 2, then I will get rid of the parents and just keep the puppy. So I'm not worried about genetics. I'm not worried about generation. I'm just trying to get the puppy that has all of the leopard shark. And they do have all sorts of different colors. Like I've got henna, black, brown, pumice, red, I think that, oh, and Shadua. I've got a whole bunch of different colors. The only ones I'm not going to delete after they've had their babies is mountain leopard and snow leopard, because they are Gen 1. So any puppies that I get out of them, I have a pretty good chance of just being able to sell. I'm going to be honest, it's just something I'm like really bad about, is getting these wolves into hunting parties. Because you can have as many hunting parties as you want. You can just, you're just limited on how many can hunt at the same time. But anyways, so waiting on a bunch of these to grow up. It looks like tomorrow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are going to grow up into adulthood. So that's exciting. I'll get one breeding pair going in that time, because yeah, I think that's the only breeding pair that's growing up that's going to be adult. Yeah, Nova and Novak will be the only ones. Everyone else is like one half of the partnership is growing up. It's like, no. And then the next biggest one was in my race and chase. You guys will notice that it's a little bit smaller. Actually, it's quite a lot smaller, about half of the, over double the amount of wolves. So I think 6 have grown up and left. So this is significantly fewer puppies than there was, because I believe 6 grew up and have moved on to be wild wolves. So that was really exciting. It's always nice when those grow up. And then I have a whole bunch of brand new NBWs. They're not NBWs, they're chased specifically, because I was trying to find a chased wolf that has both melanism and albinism carrying. And so I bought a whole bunch that were untested, tested them, and then started leveling them, because it was like once I tested them and they didn't have the carrying status, it was like, okay, now what do I do with them? I can either delete them or I can level them up and then raffle them off, which is what I'm going to do here. I'm raffling them with not just by themselves. Each one is being raffled off with its higher level, because I leveled them up about between 5 and 7, and they're getting a food bundle. So hopefully it'll be worthwhile to whomever wants to try for the raffle there. all of those guys. This one I'm surprised isn't as popular. I thought this one would be more popular because he's got lavender eyes and he's got white tail spots. Now you can't see them. You are going to have to use an opacity changer to make them more visible, but yeah, nobody seems too interested in this one yet. So we'll see how it changes. But yeah, I was really hoping to find a carrier, but it's going to take a lot more. It's going to take a lot more. So we'll see how that goes in the future, because I would love to have a double carrier for my next stud. If not necessarily just for the selling potential, but just for like my own projects, because a snow base double carrier with really cool marks would be awesome. That would definitely be exciting. So that's all the updates for my den so far. There's been some huge changes, but also not many changes. But it's been good. It's been good. We're getting there. So now we'll get to the second half of the video that I was going to talk about, and that is the Wolvden market. So this is going to require a lot of blurring, so beware editor. I'm going to have to blur out everybody's names. But I wanted to talk about the market system here in Wolvden. Now, this is because it seems to lead a lot of confusion and a lot of frustration, and it can be really scary to kind of get into it. Now, some people just dive in both feet first, not a care in the world. Some people are a little more timid, and it can lead to some difficulties. And why I think that is because Wolvden is a bit out of the norm when it comes to your typical game. So in your typical game, when you get an item, the game has already assessed a value to it. So when you go to a merchant and you go to sell the item, it is what it is, and you really don't have room for haggling. Some games will allow for haggling, in which case you'll like try to raise the price, such as Kingdom Come Deliverance, but ultimately it's a game and you're talking to an NPC. But here in Wolvden, you're talking to another person. So the closest you're going to get to that experience is by going to the raccoon wares, where they have their own prices set up already. So you can see here right behind my avatar, if you want to sell something, say for example this arnica, the raccoon will give you 1 silver for it. And that's that. No bargaining, no questions. That's what he'll pay for. And so if you're unsure and you want to clear out your den, this is a good way to do it. I recommend selling carcasses that are 1 use only. So for example, the lemming carcass, I could sell that for 3 silver. I have 5 weasels that I could sell for 3 silver to get 15. So I would trade those in, and boom, I got 18 silver. I would also recommend recipes. Specifically super common recipes. Now, I don't have any super common recipes to sell, but ultimately I still could sell these. I keep meaning to donate these to my to the group, the Green Pup Club that I'm a part of. I keep meaning to donate them and I haven't gotten to that point yet. But recipes and single-use carcasses are great to sell to the raccoon. Do not sell your fish to the raccoon, specifically the delicate fish meat. Any legendary catches, if you want to sell those, that's up to you, but the delicate fish meat, do not sell those to the raccoon unless you've got hundreds, because those are crafting materials. But then bigger items, things that the raccoon won't take, that's when you go to the trading center. Sorry, it's loading. There we go. And right off the bat, you're met with this page where just item after item of so many different items, so many different prices, and it can be really overwhelming. I remember being overwhelmed trying to figure out if something I was trying to sell, like, what was it worth? What could I ask for this item? Because it's like everybody wants to have a fair deal. Everybody wants to make money, and nobody wants to be scammed, right? Everybody wants to get an equal deal. But when you're dealing with a market such as this, you're like, where do you even start? So the Wolvden market is a free market, also kind of a capitalist market. So what that means is everybody is free to choose whatever price they want to choose with zero concern to any other price on the market. So for example, I'll show you some of my active trades right now. Okay, so I currently have a trade for a eye applicator bone, and I'm trying to sell it for 20 gold. However, without even looking through the search trade function, I can tell you right here, right now, that that is less than what I have sold bone eye applicators for in the past. Except mine isn't selling. And the reason for that, if we go to the search function here, so Trading Center, search trades, and we go to items, I like to hide custom decor because I feel that there's just so much custom decor that it really gets in the way. If you look up eye applicator, scroll down to the one that we have, which is bone, and apply filters. And you can see right here off the bat, here's mine. Eye applicator bone offers welcome, see below, 20 gold. But right below that, somebody's trying to sell one for 17 gold. And below that, 18 gold. And then 24, 24, 24, 20. So they have the same price that I do. And then 25. Now the last time I sold a bone eye applicator, it was for this 24 price. So as you can see, there's enough eye applicators on the market that it's not only slowly driving down the price, but then nobody's just buying them for this price. So who knows how long these applicators are going to stay here for sale because nobody wants to buy them. Either they're just not in a position to be buying, that's not part of anybody's current projects. It's totally fine. So if somebody else goes to sell a bone eye applicator, they're probably going to list it for 16. Okay, so it's slowly going to bring the price down. And that is just the entirety of the Wolvden market. That is how it operates. If you've ever played, say, an MMORPG, which I feel like those have kind of fallen out of popularity with games like those first-person shooters really kind of taking over the market in place of MMORPGs. But for those who have played games like World of Warcraft, Rift, Horizons, and there's like one other off the top of my head, but I cannot think of the name. But those particular games, they had the exact same market style where you could go and post what you wanted in the auction house and you'd be like, I want 1,000 silver for this item. Well, then somebody else would go, I want 999 silver. Then the next person would be like, I want 998 silver. And then somebody would go through and buy every listing for 900 silver and then relist it at 1,000. That was just a whole part of that was just how the economy worked. And that is how Wolvden operates. But I feel like what part of the intimidation that's happening with these numbers is those kinds of games aren't really popular anymore. And so when you come to Wolvden and you encounter this happening for the first time, it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So when you're looking to sell something and there are options available, just look it up with the search function, see what other people are selling for, and then either undercut the lowest if you're looking to sell quickly. So like I could undercut down to 16 and mine would potentially be bought before all of the others. Or I can go middle ground and hope that eventually the 17 and 18 will be purchased and then mine will be waiting next. Okay, so then that goes for most other items. So if we look at my abomination marking applicator specifically, I did not look up the price when I listed this. I thought it was funny, so I just put 69. Obviously, it's still here. Nobody has gone for it, which is totally fine. Nobody has to. So if I look up abomination marking applicator, apply filters, So if we see here, there are only 3 abomination marking applicators, and I am the most expensive one. I have been undercut twice. Okay, so if you are trying to sell an abomination marking applicator, and you want to come in here, you can be like 59, undercut the 60, and yours will most likely be sold first. Now, if you really want to get rid of that marking applicator, if you absolutely want it sold and you're like, I need gold, then just come in here and list it at 30. Just severely undercut. Now, what if you're trying to buy something a little more complex? Okay, like a wolf. Like you're trying to sell a wolf and you're not entirely sure the value of the wolf that you're trying to sell. So right now in Wolvden, there are so many wolves. The game is absolutely saturated with wolves because it is the name of the game. It's quite literally the name of the game is to breed wolves. So with the entire player base constantly breeding wolves and flooding the market with them, it can be very hard to understand if your particular wolf is worth anything, let alone if it will even sell in the long run. Because I've had so many wolves, they just don't sell. Because everybody just like me already has full dens. They're doing their own projects, and what I'm doing may not necessarily align with anything anyone else is doing. On top of everybody's dens are full. Very few people actually have space. But if you have a wolf and you're not sure how to price it, what you're going to do is first pick a wolf. So we're going to go pick one of mine. Now, I don't list mine for sale because I like to train them. I feel that adds a little bit more value, but I do like to train them. We're going to go specifically for Neuwern. So here we have Neuwern. She is a Ashen-based T1 wolf with 6 markings with whitetail spots in slot 10. She also has 740 stats. So right off the bat, just to put a number out there based off of my experience in the game, I would not sell her for anything less than 10 gold. Right off the bat. For a few reasons. First off, she's Gen 2. So both of her parents were NBW, so she's Gen 2. Which, the lower the generation, typically higher the value. So she's Gen 2 with 740 stats. So she's got really high stats, she's got really low generation, she's got whitetail spots in slot 10, which is, at this point in time, from what I could tell, one of the more desirable traits. That is definitely a high demand trait. Many of the other traits don't really add much to the value. The Brown Wings Heavy being a T2 does add to the value because it is a raffle marking, meaning the only way to get it is through the raffle stud, which means at some point in this pup's heritage, even though that heritage has been erased, there was a raffle stud in there somewhere. The T6 is a breeding only, which again, kind of that same thing, even though her heritage has been wiped, at some point that was brought together through a breeding. The Cedar Points is NBW exclusive, which means it can only be gotten through a wild wolf, and then so on and so forth. However, that is just taking into consideration the generation, the stats, and the markings. That is not taking into consideration the fact that this wolf is a melanism carrier. So if we come down here to the view report, melanism is a green check mark, meaning this puppy can potentially produce melanism wolves or melanism carriers, which adds on to the value. So since this is a Gen 2 carrier, I would, honestly, I would double the price to about 20 gold minimum for this particular pup, not including anything else. Just the things I've spoken about right here, right now. So now if we go to the trading center and we start looking up stuff. So if we go maximum Gen 2 and we're going to do any gender because we're not too worried about that. And unfortunately, we can't really look for carrier, but we can put the name carrier in here. Let's see how that helps. See if that helps at all. Because it only lets us search by secondary mutation and mutation. Which unfortunately does not look for carriers. But then we'll do is, we're going to do total stats of 700. And right there. So my guess, you guys can't see it because my butt's in the way, but I'll open it up. Let me move to the side. Okay, if you look in my shadow, okay, in my shadow there by my cheek, this top wolf is listed for 25 gold, and the one below it is 50. So if we open both of those up, so like right off the bat, my guesstimate is already close to what other people have. So if we look at this particular pup, it is Gen 2, T2, Dust Eyes, Melanism Carrier, 707 stats. So they have a T2, mine is T1. That's the base genetics. And then this one, the 50, is a Caribou, which is a base that can only be obtained through a crafted base applicator. So that means at some point, somebody had to craft a base applicator and then breed wolves together until they got the Caribou. And it's a melanism carrier. So the Caribou will definitely, really raise the price up. So I think 50 is a fair deal. Although there is really no such thing as fair. 50 is a valid request. And then they're asking 25. So I think since theirs is a T2, I can understand it being just a little bit more. Mine does have slightly more stats. So I would definitely be comfortable listing mine for probably the same price of 25 gold. But what if I did that search and there were none similar to mine? Well then, if you can't find any that were similar to yours, because like literally this one is just about identical criteria here. But if you can't find any that have identical criteria, then start looking for parts, right? Start looking for the portions of the wolf. So let's get rid of the stat requirement. Let's do a maximum of 600 stat points. And we're going to do that just so we can kind of see the different values here. So I need a min and a max. I need it in the exact same so I get a range. Let's do minimum 500. All right, yeah, we're going to start getting a whole bunch of different wolves here now. So here's like a G2 Melanism Carrier, 806 stat points. And this one's 35 gold. So this one has like 60 more stat points than mine. And now it's 35 gold. But it also has Dust Eyes. And so we can kind of look through these and start picking and choosing what they have in common with our wolf. So we can look up Gen 2 wolves. Okay, these Gen 2 wolves are selling, like, for example, just to make up numbers. Let's get rid of carrier from the title. Let's clear out the stat points. So if we start looking at these wolves here, this is just showing us Gen 2 wolves, as well as NBW. So this is 1 and 2, right? And we've got ones for 1 silver. We go to page 50, and we've got ones that are 1 gold. Yeah. Well then, so now we know that, okay, 1 silver to 1 gold. That's a fairly large price range. So if we keep the generation and we start like picking and choosing bases. Okay, what about Gen 1 to 2 abomination. All right, there's one here for 3 gold. My butt's in the way. Okay, 3 gold. So as you start like looking through these specific elements, deselect all. How about let's look up a Bracky puppy. Okay, we're going to erase the generation and we're going to look at Bracky. So there are Brackies on here that are ranging from 10 gold to 50 gold at the highest. So that gives you your starting base prices here. When you're trying to, actually there's one here for 60, no, oh, there's one here for 200. Oh my gosh. So you're like, okay, yours could sell between 10 and 200. So when you start getting these really wide price range and you start going through and you start adding up the different values, like, okay, my pup is a Bracky or it's a Bracky carrier. And then you start writing down, okay, the range is 10 to 200. And then just to make up a number for the Bracky carrier, the range is 20 to 50. And you start just finding all these ranges. And then you start adding them up. So then at the end of the day, you're like, okay, the price range potential for this wolf is between 20 gold and 300 gold. Okay? And you're like, that's still not a solid enough of a number for you to feel like you've priced this well. Well, then your choice is to pick a number that makes your heart happy. That is ultimately what it comes down to, is you just have to pick a number that makes your heart happy. And sometimes it's going to feel like you're getting a bad deal, and sometimes it's going to feel like you're getting a good deal, and sometimes it means you're not going to sell anything at all. Because I have wolves sitting in my den that I have tried and tried and tried to sell, but nobody wants to pay, or some people have, but most people don't want to pay the prices that I'm asking for. But the reason I'm asked for the prices that I do ask for, it's because that's what makes my heart happy when it comes to selling them, because that's what I want to sell them for. And I'm not going to compromise on that. So I would rather send a wolf to the void than sell a wolf for less than I feel like I should be selling them for. And unfortunately, that just means I don't make a lot of sales. So that is a conversation you need to have with you and yourself. It's like, are you more concerned about making the sale, or are you more concerned about making money? Because if you're concerned about making money, then yeah, you're going to want to put all that work into figuring out, okay, what would be a fair deal? What would be an ever so slight undercut in the market? Do I want to undercut the market? Or are you like, I just want this thing gone. I will literally trade it for a acorn remnant. Because once you've decided what it is you're actually looking for, then you can be properly prepared to list things on the market and be okay with the price you're listing them for. So let's see what else I have that I could show you. So that was for Noivern. So we've decided that I would sell Noivern for about 25 gold, but I'm not selling them. They're mine. They're mine and I'm not giving them up. But let's do somebody else. So Calcifar. Okay, Calcifar is a good example. I paid 100 gold for him. Now, I didn't actually pay 100 gold. I paid using marking applicators. It was either bases or marking applicators, and I paid with 2 of them. I think it was applicators. So he was 100 gold. I paid using 2 applicators. So when the deal was coming, when we were talking about the deal, it was purely based off of what the person who was selling valued the marking applicators at. So the 2 applicators that I traded on the market could have been worth 50 gold each. They could have been worth 70 gold each. But that is what the seller wanted, was 2 applicators. So that's what we traded, because I wanted the wolf, they wanted the applicators. So whether or not somebody else may have valued the items differently, it was a trade between us, and this is what we decided. So he is a chromium, a T3 chromium. He does have a few nice markings. but he has a mutation. He is a Zerdava, and he's also Gen 2. So he's a Gen 2 Mutie and Chromium. So all of those things coming together are what made him really valuable. The Gen 2, the mutation, and the Chromium are what, and he's got the hetero eyes. So he's got multicolored eyes. So those are the four big things that really came together to make him as expensive as he was. So if we were to go to the trading center, search trades, and if we were to go to wolves, and we were to look up any gender, generation exactly 2, mutation is going to be under secondary, Zerdava, and we were going to go to his base, Chromium, apply filters, and we're going to see that none are available. So none match the Chromium Zerdava Gen 2. So let's change a few things. Let's get rid of the base and just try to find a Gen 2 Zerdava. Okay, Gen 2 Zerdavas. There is one with a price, and it's 20 gold. The others do not have prices on them. So the only reference we have is this 20 gold. And whether or not that's what somebody else would list it as, that's what they're asking for, which is totally fine. They are allowed to ask for whatever they want. But the point that I'm trying to get at with this particular wolf is just because I paid 100 gold doesn't mean that I overpaid. Because that was a price that I was willing to pay. And that's the price that the seller was looking for. So the fact that there's a wolf here for 20 gold doesn't mean I should be ashamed or upset at the price I paid. It just means that that's the price that they want for that particular wolf. And then we just have the rest that are, they didn't even put a price down. This person wants currency, applicators, grove items, and rare decor. So they are asking for rarer, more expensive items. This person just says offer what you think they're worth, which is valid, right? If you're unsure, it's okay to ask. This person also says offer what you think they're worth. So they're a T2 Safflerite. And this person, lunar apps, and they did make some options as to what they're looking for. And lunar applicators, the eye applicators, I believe typically sell for around 8 gold a piece. The marking applicators are 25 gold a piece, and the bases are about 50 gold a piece. So they are looking for roughly that 30 gold range on average. So these ones are a lot less than what I paid for, but there was not a single other Chromium. And actually, I think if we looked at those, none of them were T3. Yeah, none of them were T3. They were all T2 and T1. So there's not even a T3 to compare it to. So the fact that he was a T3 is going to really add on to his price. So if you have a wolf that you're trying to sell and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what the price should be, look up similar things, start adding prices together, and then ultimately list it for just what would make you happy. Because that's all you can really do. Because you're never actually going to know, because there is no such thing as a solid value amount. It just doesn't exist, because this isn't a typical game where there's an NPC who's just going to tell you what something's worth. This is a completely 100% player run market. So if you want to sell something for 50 gold, but nobody wants to buy it for 50 gold, that doesn't mean you're overcharging. That doesn't mean you're undercharging. It just means nobody's willing to pay that amount. So if you go back and then you reduce it down to 40 and then somebody does buy it, that doesn't mean you got a bad deal. That doesn't mean you got a good deal. It just means that somebody was willing to pay 40 gold for your item. And that's just kind of how this type of market works. So hopefully this helps. And I would suggest for people coming into this that are new, start small. Start small, start simple. Try to only sell 1 to 2 things at a time. So if you want to sell like food, for example, only sell in small portions. So maybe 20 to 40 uses at a time. Maybe 100 uses. Like this, like for example, this person here is selling 50 amusement items for 40 silver. So, if you're new, start small like that. Don't start selling 100 uses right off of the bat, whether it's amusement, food, or herbs. Start small. Sell your herbs in bundles of 3 to 5 at a time. Sell your food and 20 to 40 uses at a time. Sell your amusement at like 30 uses at a time. And as long as you keep your sales small, and then you're just going to start building up confidence as you figure out values, as you figure out what your boundaries are, what is your comfort zone. And you'll eventually get the hang of it. You'll eventually get there. I know you will. I'm comfortable with where I'm at. I'm comfortable with my understanding. I'm still learning. I'm still figuring it out. Obviously, I have stuff here that's just not selling. I personally would just rather not sell my marking applicator than sell it for less than 69 gold. So, okay. So I think in summary, we got to look at my wools. We got a bit of an update. And then we talked about the market. And to summarize the market, it is a free market, meaning there are no set prices for anything. Players are free to pick and choose what they buy and sell things for. There is no set value for anything, and there is no such thing as a fair deal, just the deal that you were willing to trade. If you're unsure of a value of something, just start looking through the market, try to find either something that's identical or find something that's similar, and find multiple things that are similar so you can compare prices and find an average. Price based on what makes your heart happy. Okay, if you're okay with undercutting, then undercut. If you don't feel comfortable selling something for less than a certain value, then don't sell something for less than a certain value. And if you are just unsure, then either don't sell at all and they'll finally start small. Just start with small sales, very small amounts until you do start getting comfortable. So that is what we have today. So thank you everyone for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I will try to do these updates either weekly or bi-weekly. And hopefully I'll see you guys on Wolvden. So until next time, have a positive day. Bye-bye.